Interviewed by Isla B. Prine of the Federal Writers Project on April 16, 1937. Aunt Charity Anderson, who claims to be 101 years old, was born at Belle's Landing, Monroe County, Alabama. Her white master was Mr. Leslie Johnson, who kept a public woodyard at Belle's Landing on the Alabama River. Aunt Charity now lives on St. Stephen's Road, about 1.5 miles north of Toulminville, a suburb of Mobile, Alabama. She lives with a niece in a very comfortable and modern 4-room house. Although her sight is impaired and she is a little hard of hearing, her mind seems to be clear and her memory good. She is not able to leave the house, but with the aid of a stick, she manages to hobble around in the house. She quite often falls and recently had 2 severe falls, which left her with a scar on her forehead. Otherwise, she is a very nice old mulatta darky, fair of complexion and snow-white hair, which was neatly combed and braided at the back of her head. Having lost all teeth, she cannot eat solid food, but still is a tall, well-proportioned woman. Aunt Charity loves company and is delighted when anyone comes to visit her, as she spends the day alone while her niece is away working. When asked if she did not get tired of staying alone in the house, she replied, "I has so much trouble getting up and down the steps and trouble getting over the ground. I just makes myself happy her, 'cause thank the Lord I's on Zion's march." Aunt Charity with gingham dress, which had yards of material in the skirt, and her black and white checked apron, white head rag, bespectacled eyes, sitting in a rocking chair before a fire, sorting and folding clean rags, carried one back to the days of long ago when she told of her happy life before the Civil War. She said, "Missy, peoples don't live now, and niggers ain't got no manners, and don't know nothin' about waitin' on white folks. I can remember the days when I was one of the house servants. There was 6 of us in the old master's house, me, Sarai, Lou, Hester, Jerry, and Joe. Us didn't know nothin' but good times den. My job was lookin' out of the corner table where nothin' but the desserts sat. Joe and Jerry were the table boys, and they never touched nothin' with their hands. They used a waiter to pass things wid. My, dem was good old days. It sure was hard for us older uns to keep the little colored chillun out of the dinin' room where old marster ate, 'cause when they would slip in and stand by his cheer, when he finished eatin', he would fix a plate and give them, and they would set on the hearth and eat. But honey child, all white folks warn't it good to their slaves, 'cause I seen poor niggers almost tore up by dogs and whipped unmercifully when they didn't do like the white folks say. But thank God I had good white folks. They sure did trust me too. I had charge of all the keys in the house, and I waited on de missy and de chillun. I laid out all day clothes on Saturday night on de cheers, and den Sunday mornings I'd pick up all the dirty clothes. They didn't have to do a thing. And as for working in the field, my marster neighbor planted no cotton. I never seed no cotton planted till ater I was free. But listen, honey, I sure could wash, iron, knit, and weave. Bless ya, I could finish my day's work around a house, and den weave 6 or 7 yards of cloth. I's washed, ironed, and waited on de 4th generation ob dis family. I learned de chillun how to wash, iron, weave, and knit. I just wish I could tell dese young chillun how to do. If they would only suffer me to talk to dem, I'd tell dem to be more 'spectful to dere mamas and to dere white folks and say, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, instead of yes and no like they do now. I ain't never been in no trouble in ma life. I ain't been in no lawsuits. I ain't never been no witness. I never had seen a show in my life till just this past year, when a show with swings, lights, and all the doings they have stop in front of our house here. I's allus tried to treat everybody as good as I kin, and I uses my manners as good as I knows how, and de Lord's show has taken keer ob me. Why, when my house burnt up, de white folks helped me so dat in no time you couldn't tell I had eber lost a thing. But honey, de good old days is don't gone forever. Bless you, when we lib at Johnson's Landing on de river, folks would come dere to catch de steamboats, and we never knowed how many to put on breakfast, dinner, or supper for, 'cause sometimes de boats would be a little behind times and sometimes a little before times, and we allus had a house full. And as for paying my fare on de boats, I never had dat to do. When old Captain John Quill was livin', he allus load me to ride his boat for nothin' anywhere I wanted to go. But what's the use thinking about dem times, days gone, and de world is gettin' wickeder, sin is bolder and bolder, and religion grows colder and colder.